Want to achieve network marketing success? Then you're in the right company. Hello, and welcome to Leave Nothing to Chance, hosted by networking marketing giant John Solleder. Learn everything you need to know about the network marketing space from somebody who's actually done it. Join us every week for front row seats as we feature some of the finest and most successful personalities in network marketing. Leave nothing to chance. Join us now.
Hey, everybody. John Solleder here, leavingnothingtochance.com, and it is my great pleasure to interview a good friend of mine today for many, many years. He's a traditional business guy. He's been in the entertainment field in the Baltimore DC marketplace for many, many years. That's my good friend, Mr. Lou Kokonakis. Lou, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, John. How are you today?
I'm great, Lou. Lou, why don't we start off just having you share a little bit about your career?
Sure. I been in the entertainment industry for over 30 years. Pretty much it became a passion in college. I started off college. I have a corporate communications degree, and I joined the college radio station, and pretty much the rest is history. Went to regular radio and have had a 30-plus year career. And, pretty much the nature of my business is entertainment for life's most important celebrations, whether it's been corporate events, weddings, celebrity events, sports events. I've done it all. And as I say, the view of my office has the best view. Happy clients, happy couples. It's a passion of mine to entertain.
Well, I know you're producing a show for one of the Baltimore Ravens players right now. I know you've done some work for the Orioles. I know you've done some work for the Washington Post and many of the large, corporate, teams there in the DC Baltimore corridor there, which are many. Am I missing any? Am I missing any specific ones?
There's a lot of different ones. A lot of those clients I'm going to let go under the radar because that's the way they like to roll. You have to sign a lot of non-disclosures in this business, and I totally respect that, and that's one of the reasons why they use us a lot, because a lot of people like to flaunt working with these companies, and I just love doing my job.
Well, I know one that we can mention, though, is the show that you produce for Mr. Bowser, linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens. And I call him Mr. because I'm too old to get hit by him. He hits like a freight train, man. I love watching that guy play. But what do you do for his show exactly? You produce it, don't you?
Produce a show. I produce it. He does a player show during the season, and we produce that show. My company, my brother and I produce that show. And he, as hard as he hits, he is the nicest, sweetest guy you will ever meet.
Wow,
what a great person.
Right. Hey, Lou, you and I have been in a couple of little business ventures together over the years. And, one of the reasons I wanted to interview you was to get a perspective, not only on network marketing, which we'll get to, but on traditional business. And I know, when you and I had that business together, every time I had to write checks for inventory, it was like, $12,500, I remember, was always the magic number that we had to write for inventory for our vending business. We won't tell what brand it was because we eventually sold the company. But because we did that together, I remember that. And you and I were talking the other day, and you were coming back from a big transaction for your entertainment business. And I forget the figure, but you want to share it just to give people perspective on what traditional business is like in terms of the expenditures you have to make to play in the traditional business world?
Well, absolutely, yeah. I was talking to you, and I just got done writing a $70,000 check, and that's not uncommon in my business. The inventory that you have to keep on hand is never ending, and it's always changing. What was popular last year doesn't mean it's popular this year. So you constantly have to keep up with that inventory. You have to keep that changing the gear from year to year. So it's very expensive. And, it's, as you said, in that other business that we did, you have to have the inventory on hand. So that's an expense that in a traditional business, you certainly have to take into account when you take on a traditional business.
What happened in your case is not unlike others. And I think of that expenditure, and let's say that expenditure had been in, I don't know, December 2019, let's say, for example. And then all of a sudden, a couple of months later, as I'm going to ask you to share here, you had an incredible amount of cancellations in your business. And, let's set the table for a minute. Traditional businesses all the time, whether it's a restaurant, a food store, whatever, make these expenditures based on predictability that, the customers are going to continue to flow at a certain rate. In your business, tell what happened in, the early parts of the pandemic.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Companies do a forecast of what equipment you need, what capital you need to get through that year for your upcoming business. As you alluded to, the beginning there of, 2020, when this pandemic hit, we had 42 cancellations in that first month.
Wow.
Brides and corporate events that had to be postponed, had to be canceled because you weren't allowed to do events, period. It opened up a little, then you were able to do, smaller events, but most of, I'm very blessed on that we do higher end stuff and larger events, but unfortunately, because we do larger events, we weren't able to do any events at all because most of these venues were capped off at 150 per person. So we were still able to do some events, but not. And that kind of gets you, took my business to a screeching halt. To have 42 cancellations in 1 month, and that just kept on happening throughout the upcoming months, makes you look at business a little differently.
Yeah. I know. I know we kind of walked through it together, and I know what you were going through. And while that was happening in your business, my business was actually growing because everybody was at home and everybody was looking for the side hustle. And, I know we talked about this then of, hey, man, maybe you ought to jump into this. And you said, well, we thought this was temporary, not knowing this was going to be a couple of years. And hopefully, as we speak, hopefully it's coming to an end, but, who the heck knows, right? But, along those lines, Lou, because you've been in traditional business, you've had friends like myself and other people that that have been in network marketing. And you've had a bird's eye view of some of our careers, and you looked at them and said, "Well, I'm having a lot of success in what I'm doing, so I don't want to engage in network marketing, okay? Because it's let's face it, every distraction is equal." So you never did, but now because of everything that's happened, you've changed your worldview to our industry, and I think a lot of other business people like yourself are having that same metamorphosis, if you will, of saying, wow, you know what? Gee, my buddy down the street, he worked from home before this. Now he continues to work from home. His business is growing and my business isn't because of circumstances that I have zero control over, unfortunately. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, just as you alluded to, you heard me on one end of the phone saying how everything is canceled, come to a screeching halt. And then I'm listening to you saying the opposite. And, it gets you thinking that this could happen to me again. I'm very blessed. I've had a great business, but, our time's really changing to where this continue to happen to me. And you have to look at those multiple streams of income, if you're being fair to yourself moving forward and realize that, hey, you just can't depend on the previous business that you have because the world just showed you that it could shut down at a given notice. So for me to look at, your business of you can do it from anywhere. My venues were closed. You don't have to go to a venue. You can sit in your home. You can continue to conduct business, and I couldn't go anywhere. You could go on vacation and still conduct your business. My business is very demanding in the hours that it is, and my brother and I kind of have a joke. We work the B shift. We'd be there to open. We'd be there to close, and we'd be there for everything in between. And I've watched you for the many years, many years that we've been friends. I've watched you do your business from the hockey rink, from Grace's competitions, and you're able to do it from anywhere. And that's always been envious to me that you have that time freedom and you can go on vacation and still do your business. I'm very passionate about what I do and I love entertaining. Again, my office has the best view, and I enjoy doing that. But I certainly understand that you must diversify your streams of income, and I think personally to me, I think network marketing has really evolved from the network marketing that people know of. And I know from my first experience in network marketing years ago and I've been a systems guy, in my business, it's my brother and we have to share responsibilities and we're everything in our business. So you have to find systems and automation in order to have your time efficiently. And I've always been a systems guy and a process guy. So I found certain systems that really help with, my marketing, my sales, and stuff of that nature. And that's really worked well for us. And I see that it's really changed in the network marketing industry. It used to be the hotel room meetings and stuff of that nature. And now, look, we're on Zoom. You're in Dallas and I'm in Maryland and we can conduct business and how many miles apart from one another. And, and that's the industry's really changed in that. And there's a lot of great systems now with social media that you don't have to bother as many as your friends and relatives anymore. You certainly can find those like-minded people who are willing to get involved simply by using, automated systems and social media.
Well, it's funny that you say that because, one of my guests a few weeks ago, Randy Gage, talks about that all the time. Systematize everything you can and automate everything that you can.
Absolutely.
And what's great about traditional business people like yourself is because you've been a sole proprietor and a partner with your brother in one business, there's still so many hours in the day, right? I mean, you still got to eat, sleep, exercise, downtime, et cetera, self-development time and everything else, right? So everything that you can systematize and automate makes sense to do so. And one of the great things when people like yourself get in network marketing, you understand that better than we do. A lot of times in network marketing, especially if you're full-time, you think, I got all these hours. I'll do the call at 3:00 instead of 2:00 today. No big deal. You can't do that in traditional business, right? I mean, it's a different world, different framework. So it's great what we're talking about here. Let's go one step further, Lou. Overhead. We talked about that a little bit, the $70,000 check you had to write the other day. I mean, most of my people listening to the call are network marketers. They haven't written a $70,000 check probably for anything in their business ever, and they don't need to. That's the great part. And to your further point, while we were talking over the last couple of years, and I was pointing out to you, our business was growing while yours was not, and so many others, unfortunately, were not. Our business has evolved to the point where now it's like, hey, we always said we worked from home. And then we'd invite you to the Holiday Inn on Tuesday night for a meeting or Saturday morning training class at the Holiday Inn or the whatever. And kind of funny, all of a sudden we were forced in network marketing to really work from home 100%. And then, of course, thank God Zoom came along and some of these other technologies to say, hey, wow, it's kind of like their technology fit the time so well and fit our business model so well, which is why, the boom is happening in network marketing like it currently is. But let's talk about a couple of other things, Lou. Self-development. We think sometimes in network marketing that we've got the patent on self-development. And we forget that people read some of the same authors and some of the same things that are not in network marketing. So let me kind of set this up for you. If today they knocked on your door, you'd probably like if they did it based on the weather there right now, right? But they knock on your door and they say, listen, pack a bag. We're putting you on a deserted island, plenty of food, plenty of water. But you're limited what you can bring. You can bring your Holy Bible, which I know is important to you, but you can only bring 3 additional self-development books with you. What would they be?
I think the first book that I read in self-development would have to be The Power of Positive Thinking, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, and a other book that I like is Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand. And it's called Building a Story Brand, Clarifying Your Message so Customers Will Listen. And that has been very instrumental in my business because what you'll find out what Donald says is if you use the wrong words to talk about your product, no one will buy it. You have to make them the hero and not yourself the hero. I know a lot of my competition, you look at their websites and I deal with the millennial bride, okay? So it's a different way of marketing to them. And you see most of these sites are like, oh, I'm this great and I do this and I do that. And they're not making the bride the hero. They're making themselves the hero. And that's really what Donald Miller points out in this book. And it's a great book.
Wow.
And, to take on to say self-development, we're constantly, we go to all the industry, we'll go to all the industry trade shows, which obviously in the last couple of years have been virtual, but, we'll go to the industry trade shows and always try to keep up on, the newest trends to stay on top of our industry.
Great. So let's talk about going forward. Now, you've also had another career because you've always believed in passive income. I know you understand it very well. So, one of the things that you did years ago was you diversified from some of the, business profits from your business A, your entertainment business, right? You've also dabbled in real estate. I know you've had one venture in particular that's been very successful there in the area. Just talk about that a little bit. Don't have to get into specifics or dollar figures, but you were part of something very big there in the Baltimore area. Yeah,
it's kind of interesting how I got involved with them. They hired my company to do video production, but the owners of the company really liked. They actually, when we were out to lunch several times, saw previous brides run up to me. And they're like, listen, man, if that bride, you haven't seen that bride in 5 years, you must be doing something right. She ran up to you and hugged you and kissed you. You must be doing something right for customer service. You need to come work for us. And that company, we did 100 flips in 1 year. And so, real estate, we purchase it, we renovate it, and we sell them. And so I also have rental properties as well. So you talk about diversifying income, obviously real estate's always been a great way to invest your money.
Yeah, well, I know you've had great success in that as well. So, Lou, going forward, okay, I know you're in your mid-50s now, and I know you've been, very successful. You know what I mean? You've rubbed elbows with, celebrities and CEOs and even politicians. I know you were part of an inauguration even way back. I don't know if you want to say for which president, but I know you were even part of that along the way. What was that like? I mean, you don't have to get into specific people or anything on that one, but what was that like to just kind of be part of that event?
It's amazing. I mean, again, being a part of a inaugural celebration it's very humbling that you've been chosen to do that, but been very blessed that, that's what my career has entailed throughout the 30 years of, being able to be chosen by great brands, some Fortune 500 companies and some celebrities and athletes and sports teams, because they like what you do. So that's quite an honor.
Well, obviously you've done a great job because they keep hiring you. And I know even during the last 2 years, I know you've had things that have gotten canceled with some very prominent folks there in Baltimore. So kind of, Lou, as we go forward, okay, 2022, you find yourself in your mid-50s. We're starting maybe to think about winding down prior to the pandemic, right? Winding down the entertainment thing just because of the hours and the nights and the late nights. I know a lot of times, in the early morning, I know I couldn't find you many times because you were sleeping because you get in at 4 o'clock in the morning. And as we get older, it's a little hard to do that, right? A little hard on everything, right? But, and then of course this happened, right? This horrible, horrible, horrible thing that we've all lived through. And if you're listening to this, you've survived it. That's the good news. Slap yourself on the back. You survived it. You made it through. You're a survivor. But most importantly, going forward, You're looking at network marketing. I know you've decided on a particular company, and we never talk about companies or brands on the show here, obviously, but you've found something that you like, which I think is the most important thing, something that you like and you believe in, obviously, and you've passionate about. And now network marketing. I know you're not going to leave what you're doing. I know you're going to continue, working at your entertainment business and your real estate development business. But you've looked at network marketing enough now through not only my lens, but other people's lenses that you know in the industry. And why should somebody in our age group, you and I are a couple of years apart, why should somebody in our age group take a look at network marketing?
Well, I think, as I alluded to earlier, it's not your father's network marketing anymore. It's changed a lot. As you heard me say, I'm a systems person. And I think that the systems that are in play now really can give you great progress into having a very successful side hustle and not spending the time that you would have had to years ago in order to do so because of automation. Obviously, what you put into it's what you're going to get out of it, of course. But I certainly do see with social media and the systems are out there now, you can compress time. You certainly can compress time. And, as you mentioned before, I've tried it in my earlier days. And, and people always told you that, you could do this part-time, and you could. But to really make a lot of money at it, you really had to put in full-time hours. But now with systems in place and tools, and again, getting back to, what we talked about earlier about how my company, how I have to make all these capital expenditures. Now you find a good company that does a lot of that for you. You don't have to worry about shipping. You don't have to worry about taking orders. You don't have to worry about returns. You don't have to worry about inventory. That's all there for you already. You find a great company that has all of those tools in place, and you can spend your time on what you're doing currently, and then dedicate your side hustle to the company that you choose to find, and you can have great success.
All right. So, folks, if you don't know me, my name's John Solleder. I've been in network marketing now for 39 years, coming up in April. Okay, hard to believe, Lou. 39 years ago, one of my wrestling buddies walks into my office. I was selling health club memberships while I was finishing college. You know the story. You've heard it many times. And shared with me about network marketing. And I had never heard of it. I had never heard of any of these great companies that even existed then. Some of them that have been around for 30 years already. But never heard of it. Got involved. So 39 years. Anyway, in those 39 years, I've written a number of different books. But the two main titles that you may want to pick up on Amazon, and you can get them digital if you want, or you can get the hard copy, or you can get whatever you want. And they come in Spanish as well for our folks that speak both or have downlines of both. Leave Nothing to Chance, just like the show. Now, the show's called Leaving Nothing to Chance, okay? But the book is called LeaveNothingToChance.com that I wrote with my good friend Foster Owusu up in Toronto, Canada. And a lot of perspectives in there, a lot of stories in there, frankly, about people who, like Lou, have chosen network marketing either full-time or part-time as a career choice. And then in addition to that, Moving Up 2020, which I wrote back in 2019, believe it or not, with the idea that 2020 was going to be this magical year. Well, it turned out that way. I guess it sums it up either way. But a lot of content in there, folks, from my 39 years of experience, not just mine, but all the mentors that I've worked with over those 39 years. Okay, Leaving Nothing to Chance, the podcast, every Tuesday, Spotify, Apple iTunes, and a number of other different podcast companies that have picked it up. Some that have picked it up even that we weren't even aware of, that are business channels that are actually now promoting our show, which is great and terrific. So please listen to it. Please let your downlines know about it. And even if the people are not in network marketing, there's a lot of information on here from some very smart people that are helping. And that's the purpose of the show, is to help you become the best version of you. Now, with that, Lou, going to give you the last word here today. What's your advice for people to balance of 2022, 2023, and beyond?
In these uncertain times, definitely feel that diversification is important, as you've learned from hearing me today, from a successful business to it, being shut down, in a matter of days. So take the opportunity to look at diversification, do a side hustle, and network marketing is a good option.
Great. Well, Lou, thanks for being on the show, and enjoy the beautiful snow.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go out and hurt my back a little more.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Leave Nothing to Chance. If you want to know more about what it takes to succeed in the network marketing space, join us again next week for another amazing episode. For additional resources and to connect with John Solleder, visit leavingnothingtochance.com. Don't forget to leave a review, and we'll see you next time.